Differently interesting extra time communion for minicab drivers.
Take the money and sit back down again.
Breastfeeding mums.
Oh, you've not been giving it its breakfast again, have you?
And people disturbed by urban foxes engaged in the act of lovemaking behind their bins.
Anybody there?
The two mics. Overworked, overweight, overpaid, overnight. On Talk Sport.
Hey! Oh! Let's go! Hey! Oh! Let's go!
I don't like being portrayed as an idiot.
I'll be your waiter for today.
Yeah, that's
really?
right. Yeah,
great. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Go give me a drink.
Look at the light!
You ever seen a woman on a beach with a machine gun?
No.
Look at the light!
Hair doesn't have a gender, does it? Hair is hair.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two mics, and I'm delighted to say that Mr. Parry is here next to me, and it's time to say a very good morning to him. Good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yes, good morning, Mike. Good to be back here
Indeed.
after that bank holiday break, and what a dramatic weekend of sport.
Yeah,
Football
it really was.
in particular.
Yeah, incredible.
Just let me remind you about it. McLaren, gone. Allardyce, gone. Ancelotti, gone. Clough, gone. Rodgers stays
Not
for
gone,
the time
maybe.
being.
Yeah.
And all three Premier League relegation bosses all stay.
Yeah.
How'd you work that out?
Yeah, I know, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, I suppose from the relegation point of view, you can. Well, Steve Bruce, although is still kind of up in the air, that one, isn't it? He might not be
Well,
staying.
there doesn't seem to be any indication of him going so far, and we do think that Sean Dyche at Burnley and...
Sean Dyche?
Hey?
Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche?
Sean Dyche, surely.
Sean Dyche.
You see, you got your Sean Dyche impersonation onto Clips of the Week.
Sean Dyche?
Sean Dyche.
I didn't know, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
yeah.
good, okay, yeah.
It was very good.
That's
Andy
right.
Jacobs thought it was great.
That's right. In fact, I had a few... I did say a few tweets about it, but I was a bit mystified as to what it was all about, because I forgot I'd done it, you know what I mean? That's because I have such
Well, I mean, this is the thing. You say it was a massive bank holiday weekend, but actually we were here on Friday night, unusually.
Yes.
So it was a slightly truncated bank holiday weekend for us.
It was a bit truncated. It was great to do it Friday over into Saturday, because it makes you feel a part of that sporting weekend.
Yes.
Sean Dyche is staying. No, the reason I forgot about my impersonation of Sean Dyche is my repertoire now of impersonations has become so broad and wide. I sometimes don't even know I'm doing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Sometimes when I'm out in the streets now, I say Louis van Gaal.
Well, could you do, for example, an impersonation of all of those managers that have gone? Steve McLaren, we know you can do.
Well, Steve McLaren. I could do them, but I haven't got time at the moment. I haven't got time.
I'd like to hear your Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti.
Hello, Ancelotti.
Carlo Ancelotti, possibly the most classy manager I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, and by the way, I was just thinking on the way in tonight when I was listening to what's happened to Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Sir Alex Ferguson took over at Manchester United? He had like 5 barren seasons, didn't he? And then won the FA Cup. No. Now then, when I went to Wembley in 1995 to see Everton win the FA Cup, they beat Manchester United 1-0. And that was the same year that Manchester United were beaten by 1 point to the Premier League title by Blackburn.
Oh, right.
In Spain, he'd have got the sack.
Yes.
Despite the fact that the previous season they'd won the double, the Cup and the League, he would have got the sack.
But I think the difference between Manchester United then and, say, Real Madrid now, and the way Real Madrid have always been, is that they clearly had a plan, that they put Sir Alex Ferguson in place. They were in a terrible situation, Manchester United. They had loads and loads of managers, including our favourite man, Mr. Wilf McGuinness, right?
Wilf McGuinness.
And, Tommy Docherty and all that. You know, it'd all been terrible,
Frank, what's his name, from Leicester?
Yeah, it'd all been really awful. And so they decided, it's time we got some stability, we get some guy in who's done terribly well at Aberdeen and let him have a go. Whereas at Liverpool, they have not really had this barren a time.
No.
For the 3 years that Brendan Rodgers has been in charge. And he's not Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, they haven't hired a guy who had some great success in Europe a club that should never have been successful in Europe. They've hired a guy who's come from a load of clubs where, middling success has been okay.
I mean, the thing about Brendan Rodgers is if Luis Suarez hadn't been at Liverpool, he wouldn't have lasted one season.
Right. He didn't sign him, did he?
Maybe he didn't sign Kenny Dalglish signed him.
Right.
So it's what I think is just amazing is that, I mean, in the last 2 weeks of the season, last 2 weeks of the campaign last season, Brendan Rodgers was on the point of somehow becoming the most fortunate Premier League boss to win a championship in the history of the game.
Right.
And 12 months on, I was astonished when I heard him say at his last press conference, what's the Northern Ireland one? Have you ever been to Belfast? Well, if the owners of the club want me to go, I will go.
Yeah, I saw you tweet about that, and it's true. Extraordinary turnaround.
It is extraordinary turnaround. But anyway, look, What I'm saying is, such a dramatic week. McLaren going, we didn't really see that coming. I think...
Well, except something funny happened at Derby, didn't it? Because after they missed out on the playoffs, he was very, very sure that he was not interested in Newcastle. He was sat there.
I think they blamed him for trying to court Newcastle.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I think.
There's been some kind of falling out, hasn't there, behind the scenes? Because after that game that they didn't quite make it up to the playoffs, he said, look, we've got a project here. I've got an awful lot of work still to do here. And for all intents and purposes, he was going to be around for another year to try and get Derby back up into the playoffs.
Totally agree. I think West Ham, I just don't think they come out of the departure of Sam Allardyce with any credit at all.
No.
They've been, they literally, when asked about Sam's future going back 6 or 8 weeks, they've just prevaricated and said, oh, well, let's see at the end of the season. Well, they knew they were going to get rid of him. I'm certain of that. And the other thing is, all this deadline stuff about, oh, well, there's a meeting between my agent and the club representatives on Monday.
Yeah.
Well, that was never going to happen because he got sacked 4 minutes after the game ended.
Well, exactly.
So I think that.
But,
on
the other hand,
stuff.
it's difficult to do it the other way, isn't it? Because we saw what happened at Brentford, where Mark Warburton was told, sometime about 3 months ago, that no matter how well you do, no matter if you get promotion, you're out. Now, I don't think that's a good idea for any football club, and I don't think the fans liked it. They couldn't understand it. It didn't make any sense. I mean, if West Ham fans had been told, say, in February, that Sam Allardyce is going to leave the club at the end of the season, do you think that would have been a better way to do it?
No, but I'm not sure why Sam's gone, you see, because it's their vital season next season. Apparently already West Ham's plan has exploded in their face because they thought they were getting Rafael Benitez.
Yeah.
Apparently it was at a very advanced stage. Contracts are about to be exchanged, and all of a sudden, Rafael gets the...
he gets the nod from Real Madrid.
Yeah, and again, this is the weirdest one in the world, isn't it? Because he's not had a fantastic season in Italy, has he?
No,
He's had
not
a
really.
reasonable season. Do you know what the most interesting bit of telly over the weekend was?
What was it?
Seeing Mike Ashley speak for the first time.
Yes, wasn't that interesting?
I mean, I found it fascinating. Firstly, he sounded just like a sort of footballer to me, you know what I mean? He sounded... Secondly, I thought his dress sense was appalling.
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed, even though he's quite a bulky man, he seemed to have a shirt that was too big.
Yeah.
He seemed to be wearing a shirt that was too big, with a black and white tie, which wasn't knotted at the top.
Yeah.
And looked like somebody put it round his neck rather than he was wearing it. If you see what
like
I mean.
at the last minute.
Like a last
Sort
minute
of
type
PR
thing.
department.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And actually, he didn't say a lot. And in fact, I see that the Sky reporter who grabbed that interview was coming for a little bit of criticism, said, "Oh, you weren't hard enough on him." But quite frankly, for Mike Ashley to suddenly pop up in any interview after so many years of silence and get any words out of him, I think's a major coup.
Yeah.
And I say, well done to the lad who got it. Never mind having time to ask the hard question. The trouble is with Mike Ashley and people like him who are billionaires, you can't really ask them hard questions because they wouldn't answer them anyway.
No, they just sidestep them.
Yeah.
Remember
exactly.
when we had Lord Sugar in here and he just answers the questions he wants to answer. He says what he wants to say, and if he doesn't want to say something, he just says, I'm not going to say that.
That's absolutely right.
I'm not going to answer it.
And the other thing I want to say now is, and I think that you will have to, at some stage, position yourself on this one.
Position myself?
Absolutely.
Well, are you sure I haven't already positioned myself?
Who needs Kevin Peterson?
What do you mean,
I've
who needs
said
him?
all along that Kevin
because England
Peterson
have just about scraped past New Zealand.
A glorious victory with some glorious batting innings and some glorious performances. And where was Kevin Peterson? Well, nowhere near Lords.
Well, let's not forget that there was also some pretty awful stuff going on
Doesn't
as well.
matter. In the end, they came out. That's all you've got to worry about, Mike. If you're not winning, it's because you're not trying hard enough.
That's true.
They obviously tried harder.
Right, so would you like to say now that the odds of England beating Australia in the Ashes series have now suddenly shortened because they've beaten New Zealand?
Yeah.
I don't think you know anything about cricket in that case.
Of course they've shortened.
They're not playing New Zealand in the Ashes.
You see, what you don't understand is, Mike, you don't understand the reality of life, and that is that confidence gets you a long way down the road.
I do understand that. I do understand
So if they've just had a belting result against New Zealand, who are not a bad team whatsoever, that is bound to improve their confidence. It's bound to make Cook a better player and a better captain for the onslaught to come against the Australians. Only you understood the mentality of winners.
No, leapfrogged up the sort of the world rankings of New Zealand because England have fallen down them so fast.
I'm not sure about
that. They're still ranked above England. So yes, technically it's a good win for England. I don't think it's going to help them in the summer though against Australia because Australia are going to be a much better team.
Okay, how did the weekend go? Was it the red, white, rosé and brandy?
Yeah, well, you've now
scenario?
you've now turned this into a kind of some kind of definitive thing. Because I told you a story of one night when I was watching the Floyd Mayweather fight, which didn't start until it didn't start till 5 in the morning, right? So therefore, naturally, there was a lot more drink taken than there would be any other time. No.
Most normal people would have gone to bed for a few hours, got some rest, got up and then watched the fight.
Well,
no, you just drunk yourself through the night.
Well, I explained why that was the case.
No self-control whatsoever.
Because I had to get the pay-per-view thing sorted out. So no, in any normal weekend, that is not at all the case. I did have a nice bottle of Bollinger yesterday, though. Thank you very much indeed.
A bottle of Bollinger?
Which was just for no particular reason.
And how much did that cost?
It was a gift. I didn't buy it.
Oh, who gave it you?
It was given to us by the executive producer, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did he give you that for?
He gave me that on the occasion of my daughter's engagement.
Really? Well, that's very, very kind of him.
Isn't that nice of him?
I would have thought that
I haven't had a present from you yet, by the way.
No, you're not going to get one either.
Why not?
Well, because I think...
the time, look.
I think that bottle should have been... Don't worry about the time. That bottle should have been shared with your daughter.
Well, it should have been,
you guzzled it yourself.
It should have been.
I mean, that's...
Well, I didn't guzzle it myself. It was shared between a couple of people.
That's fatherhood at its worst, at its basest.
Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Anyway, we've got loads to talk about. I've got to ask you about the Toby Carvery as well coming up next. I don't know whether you've seen that story.
I saw some botulism problem, is it? Or something? Was it?
You might say that.
Oh, no, norovirus.
Well,
is it norovirus?
It's a norovirus, yeah.
Norovirus. It's only one isolated case.
Yeah,
well,
you know...
There's hundreds of Tobys all around the country. In fact, the ones I use are of the higher end of the
Yeah, of course, there isn't a first-class Toby Carvery. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. Loads more coming next. Yeah, better get me a doctor. That's if you're going near a Toby Carvery, right? How about this? Yeah. This headline. Yeah. Hundreds of diners launch legal case against Toby Carvery after being hit by a severe vomiting bug.
Well, that's one isolated case.
I'm sorry to bring that up. But,
where is it?
It's down in Exeter.
Yeah,
right?
well...
apparently, one company is representing 193 people in relation to the case. There was an outbreak of this unfortunate virus around about Easter time, right? But instead of closing the place down, they cleaned the premises overnight and continued to welcome more visitors over the Easter holidays.
Right.
So loads of people got it, including, bizarrely, I don't know why this is particularly relevant in the story, but there was a whole load of people there from some cat conservancy or something like the Cat Protection League. 24 members of the Cat Protection League. So you're laughing now, aren't you? Because you don't mind people from the Cat Protection League being somehow not
incapacitated,
having a very, incapacitated. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to warn you in case you were planning to go anywhere near a Toby Carvery this week.
Well, I might. I like the Toby Carvery. I think they're great value for money. And by the way, I've noticed in one of the local ones I use now, for £1 extra, you can have a large Carvery rather than a regular one.
Well, how much bigger is that?
Don't know.
Well, you mean like twice as many bits of lamb? And...
No, I think you get another slice of meat.
Yeah, an extra slice of meat.
Yeah, I think so.
For a pound.
Yeah. Why not? No, it's not. No.
Absolutely pathetic.
No, it's not. I think you're a snob.
Well, I would give him a bit of a wide berth.
I think you're an absolute snob to even question it.
Not at all. Just to give him a bit of a wide berth. Then when you get falling ill as we're entering our very crucial period of live shows coming up.
Oh yeah. By the way, I was pounding the streets of Portsmouth over the weekend to meet and greet with some of the people who come to see us at Portsmouth.
Yeah, good. Looking forward to that. Saturday night.
It's Saturday night.
Yeah.
Get your tickets, kids, before they run out, and it's a fantastic venue, the Guildhall in Portsmouth. So that's wonderful. What I wanted to tell you was that I am delighted to have spotted in one of the weekend papers, in fact, one of the prominent weekend papers, probably the Times or something like that, that the government now is going to introduce major new legislation to clamp down on litter bugs. There's going to be massive, great fines in future for people who throw
better things to do.
No, who throw rubbish out of cars. Who dump litter on the street.
It's all pie in the sky, isn't it?
Who put cigarette butts under their boot onto the pavement.
It's all pie in the sky.
Allow chewing gum to fester on the sidewalks.
Bad idea.
It's all going to be clamped down on.
It's a bad idea.
And the Keep Britain Tidy campaign, which seems to be one of the few, quangos that doesn't have a political agenda, is calling on the government to introduce this in a national strategy, and it seems to be working.
So Keep Britain Tidy is a quango which is funded by the taxpayer, right? So how many millions of pounds do we waste on Keep Britain Tidy then as an organisation?
We should keep Britain tidy because...
Well, we should keep Britain tidy, period.
That is the statement to the world of your country.
No,
and when you're driving from Heathrow and you see litter, blowing around on the M4 and all that
exactly
kind of
my
stuff,
point.
It's an absolute disgrace.
Exactly. So what's the point of having an organisation that is paid millions and millions of pounds called Keep Britain Tidy, that all it does is put signs up all over the place to say Keep Britain Tidy, but the street's an absolute mess.
Well, what do you expect them to do?
Well, because we don't need to waste the money on it.
It's the filth of the people in Britain.
Yes, I agree.
It's not Keep Britain Tidy's fault.
No, I agree, but there's no point in having Keep Britain Tidy, is there?
Listen to this. Rates of fast food littering and fly tipping are on the rise, and many people find this really offensive, says Mr. McElwain.
Yeah.
You know
and who's he, Mr. McElwain?
Oh, he's the chief executive of Keep Britain Tidy.
Oh, great. How much does he get every year, then, for not keeping Britain tidy? Well, he's failing, isn't he, because he's not keeping Britain tidy?
Well, I'm sorry, but they need more help to do it. There should be £500 fines across the board for dropping litter, he says, and I agree with him.
Yeah, well, it's a nice thing to think about. But first of all, the government's got surely more important things to think about. And second of all, who's going to hand out all these notices?
No, a tidy mind, my mum used to tell me. Tidy mind.
Tiny mind?
No, a tidy mind means a tidy life.
Yeah.
So,
well, you haven't got a tidy mind. Your mind's all over the place.
So a tidy country means that we're well run and efficient, and that's the message we give out to the world.
Well, in that case, we're not well run. We're not efficient. All you've got to do is look around behind you, right, in this studio, right? Look at the state of the studio here. I mean, now, the reason that is all over the floor there is, I have to say, without wishing to put too fine a point on it, it's down to Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy. It's an absolute disgrace.
Why do they throw their rubbish on the floor?
Can't even reach. I mean, the bin is right behind them, but they can't put stuff in the bin.
There's a bin there. It's empty.
The bin's empty.
Why is the litter on the floor? Why
because they throw stuff on the floor.
Why? Do they think that they're too good to use a bin?
I've no idea. I really don't know. But it's a shocking state of affairs, and it's indicative of what's wrong with Britain.
We all have our own vagaries in the studio.
We don't need a Keep Britain Tidy chief executive. We don't need a Keep Britain Tidy quango. What we need to do is convince people, as children from the age of 3 or 4 up, that they put things in the bin. They don't throw things out car windows, and they don't throw litter on the ground.
One of the other problems, of course, is that all these nutty local authorities now who, by the way, do you know that 1/3 of your council tax bill now goes to pay the pension?
That's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, of the people in the local authorities.
The pensions and the salaries of some local authorities actually are even higher than that.
Yes,
it's much more than 1/3. It's more like 2/3.
I think you're right. I think it might be 2/3. You're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is they also introduce now all these bins that you have to put all your rubbish in and all that. People get so confused, they just
How many bins have you got to recycle?
I don't have them, you see, because I live in collective blocks.
Right.
We have
Well, do you not recycle anything then?
Yeah.
Well, what do you recycle?
Well, whatever goes in the bin, because they recycle them.
What, so you put everything in a bin,
yes,
and you expect them to take it all out and recycle it?
Well, they do, you see, because when you live in collective blocks... We live in collective blocks. You either put them in the recycling and non-recycling containers. You see what I mean?
Yeah. So you must have 2 separate lots of rubbish.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, you told me you just had 1 lot.
No, but I mean, it depends which property you're talking about that I live in. It's rather confusing.
Must be very confusing.
It is confusing.
All right. Well, let's take the primary penthouse in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey.
Yeah.
What do you recycle?
Well, it all goes into one bin there.
So everything goes in the bin?
Everything goes in the bin.
So you don't recycle anything?
They did give me a green bag a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know what I'm supposed to put in it, but it is honestly a big green bag.
Yeah.
And,
presumably you're supposed to put garden waste in
I don't know, no.
You haven't got garden?
No.
You've got a roof garden?
No, I think it's bottles and things like that, but I don't know where you put them after that. What they do is downstairs...
Well, you wouldn't want a green bag for your bottles. You need like a case.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Green bag is burst.
There is one of these bins out front of the property, out the front of the property, which has like these 3 holes with brushes, you know what I mean? Now, they're for bottles, I presume.
Bottles, yeah.
The only problem with that is that's below my bedroom window. So when people, get like completely inebriated late at night like you do, and then they come out and decide to get rid of the bottles, they smash them with such noise and abandon. It disturbs me. I often shout out the window and tell them to sober up and go home before I come down and sort them out.
You think these are people from the same block that you live in?
Of course they are, yeah, but fortunately, because
very low class of sort of neighbour you've got.
Because they look up and they're going to see only darkness, they don't know who's shouting at them, so I'm pretty safe.
Well, I think they probably know it's you, because no one ever complains about it.
No, I don't think so.
Also, if you're in the penthouse, surely you can't hear all that anyway, can you?
You can, that's what I mean. The noise drifts up, That is another big problem, by the way, about blocks of flats these days, right? Because now people have been driven out from smoking indoors.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to smoke indoors in any of the blocks I live in.
No.
Right? And,
not even inside your own apartment, as it were?
Well, I think you can. I don't think they can stop you doing that. Yeah. But if you've got children, the mother of the children will say you can't smoke indoors.
Quite right.
And you can't smoke out in the corridor for obvious reasons. Yeah. Although we did have one chap from Latvia who came out and started...
Latvia?
Yeah, Latvia, yeah.
So you've got people from Latvia living in
there?
Yeah.
For on the lower floors. Yeah. And he was just standing on the... literally standing and leaning on the rail banister, smoking a cigarette and allowing the ash and bits of...
Stockbroker Belt Surrey's not what it was, is it?
Well, it's not. And it burned all the carpet. So I made him pay for a new carpet, because, it was disgraceful. And he's now moved out, fortunately. But what I was going to say is, it means that a lot of people now go out on the balcony and smoke. And you wouldn't believe how that can disturb the lives of people in penthouses. Because if you've got 2 or 3 people on the lower floor standing on their balconies smoking, smoke rises because it's hot air, and hot air rises.
But it also dissipates as well, doesn't it?
Well, no, but these people in the penthouses, you see, are all complaining about the smoke wafting into, and it's a terrible social problem. It really is. Should be banned, I think, smoking altogether.
You think smoking should be banned? Well, then you wouldn't be able to have one every now and again, would you?
Well, I don't really, to be honest. And I wish the temptation wasn't there, even if I do. But I think it's a great thing that we are clearing up the litter. I really do, honestly, because
you say that, but
disgraceful.
This is my point. I don't think we will be clearing up any of the litter because they'll make this, a sort of an objective and a directive. But who's going to, what's going to be the difference between you walking down the street tomorrow and yesterday? There's not going to be any extra people there picking people up.
Well, I go out and clear up the litter in my own street anyway. I do that often.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there won't be anybody there. There won't be any litter officers to arrest people. They won't be handing out any on-the-spot fines because there aren't any more people
We definitely need some. I mean, because of the odd times that we go home, I'm sometimes getting home at 5:30. Yeah. Now, it's light these mornings, right? I have bags in the back of my car and the plastic gloves, and I often stop in my street and I walk up and down at 5:30 or 5:15 or something like that, and I collect all the litter that's... because for some known reason, these filthy people go around throwing empty cigarette packets on the floor. And the worst one are plastic bottles. They I don't know where they come from, but they get run over by cars. So they're sort of moulded into the ground, you know what I mean? So they have to go and be peeled off the ground and all this kind of stuff. And if you disgusting people, disgusting.
I know, but it's a British problem. You go to most other countries in the world and you don't see this kind of litter at all. You don't see this kind of litter in America. You don't see it in most countries in Europe.
It's true.
People know where to put their rubbish. But I just don't see it changing unless they change the attitude of people so they don't throw this stuff around.
As I say, there's not enough places to put rubbish in this country. I've noticed that we have very, very few litter bins compared to some continental countries. Right. We need a lot more. That's what I'm saying, OK?
Well, there used to be a time when there were no litter bins because they were worried that people would put bombs in them, but now that seems to have gone. And now there's loads of litter bins on the tube, for example. Yeah,
do you know what? That's really odd, that. I was at Victoria Station the other day, and I didn't realise until I looked down the station. I was sitting there having a quiet drink, after work, and they've got a left luggage thing again.
Oh, at Victoria?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had that for a while.
But I thought they were banned because of the IRA and all this kind of stuff.
Well,
I thought people put bombs in them.
Well, I think that was 20
but how do you know it's not going to happen again?
Well,
some of these people are still pretty active,
I think you start alarming people. Now, looking to the light for a moment, we've got lots to do. We've got big winners and losers. I hope you've got a big winners and losers this evening because we've got loads and loads to choose from. We are the Two Mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Loads more coming up next.
On DAB, Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. Talk Sport.
And it's too late to tell this boy how great he was. Please wait at the gate of heaven for me, Terry. He roared into the night, accelerated his motorbike.
This is an awful song, this.
It's a brilliant song. It's a brilliant song.
I've never even heard this before.
You must have heard it.
I've never heard it before.
This was a classic song from the 60s.
Yeah, don't remember it.
It was a cult song. And what happened was, the reison we're playing that, it was sung and written by a girl called Lynn Ripley.
Oh, yeah.
But she was known on the stage name as Twinkle.
Twinkle.
Because that had always been her name in her family. Her mum and dad called her and her aunties and her uncles.
Okay.
And what happened was, it was just an amazing story. She lived in a 20-room house in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey.
Okay.
Father was a stockbroker, literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that was when it really was Stockbroker.
Yeah, it really was Stockbroker
before
Belt,
people like you moved in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and she was in her dad's Rolls Royce one day with him driving, and all these rockers went past on their bikes with their leathers, and it was the age of the mods and the rockers, you see, and they were rockers, and she was so taken aback, and she was 14 years of age. She went home to her 20-room mansion, got out her recorder because she was taking recording lessons at school, and on her recorder she composed that song.
Did she?
Yeah, called Terry, and it was about an imaginary love romance between her and a greaser on a bike.
Yeah, some rocker,
who then drove off in the middle of the night and killed himself, on his high-powered motorbike. And it got
how
banned.
did it get turned into a record then?
Well, because her sister was a music journalist.
Right.
She was working on one of those emerging pop papers like NME, New Musical
Express. Like that,
yeah, and she said, that sounds all right. She got hold of some record producer. They put her in a studio, she sang it, and that was it.
And did you own this record then?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I think I bought one. Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, genuinely, have never heard of it before. Never heard of it.
And anyway, the point is, that was it. I mean, she never did anything else again. Right. But what an incredible story for a record that soared up the charts, became a cult record of the 60s. She then went back to doing something normal, like being a housewife or something. But she died last week.
Oh, did she?
And I thought, well, you know, how sad.
Well, the obituary must tell you what she then ended up doing. Because she probably, she came from a wealthy background. She probably ended up doing something, you know, that was reasonably kind of wealthy, I suppose.
Well, she's a very good-looking girl, and she had a load of high-profile romances. She was linked to Eric Burden, George Harrison, Brian Jones, and Mick Jagger.
So she was in the music business then, presumably?
Well, yeah, but she was, because she made this hit record, didn't she? And yet nothing ever happened after that. Yeah. By the time she was 18, she'd been dropped by her label. Yeah. I mean, that's astonishing. Her music career was over at the age of 18. Yeah. But it was, and the other most amazing thing was, she went to a school called the Queensgate School in South Kensington, and a classmate was Camilla, who is now Prince Charles's wife and will be the future Queen.
Camilla Parker Bowles.
Camilla Parker Bowles, that's right, yeah.
Duchess of Cornwall.
Yeah, unbelievable, eh?
Yeah. Well, so she probably had quite a privileged life. Well, it'd be interesting to know what she did after she got dropped by the record label.
Well, hang on.
Surely you must have some information on that.
Yeah. After that, she married a guy called Graham Rodgers, who was a TV model. Not much call for those in the 70s, I suppose. And he actually, because this is another fascinating fact, he became the milk tray man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the lady loves milk tray.
Yeah, with the black polo neck.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And they lived in Oxshott in Surrey, which again is Stockbroker Belt, Surrey, right? Yeah. And they had children, one of whom they named Michael. That's very sensible, isn't it? And then they became like dedicated animal rights activists, you know, and all this kind of stuff.
How bizarre!
But it was just a father who for 22 years was the Conservative member for Kingston upon Thames.
Oh, so her father was an MP?
No, on the Greater London Council.
Oh right, okay.
And he was their greatest support, and he put up the money to make the record, and it was one record, it was a hit, and that was it. But I just thought it was incredible that anybody could have such a brief life as a pop star after writing and recording a song like that. Astonishing. Sort of thing I'd probably do one of these days, you know what I mean?
I'm surprised in some ways that you haven't done it before.
Well, I did, of course, with They Paint It Black. That got us to number 46 in the charts.
They Paint It Black?
I made Paint It Black.
Just Paint It Black,
with
we still have, I mean, I've heard that, but I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that Terry thing before.
Well, I'm astonished. But anyway, look, talking about speed and all that. And,
well, let me just read you a couple of these out before we do that. Jack says, it won't take much to work out Parry's recycling regimen. Bottles and tin cans. Simple.
Bottles and tin cans? Tin cans, certainly, yeah, I do. I rinse them out very thoroughly. I rinse them out. If it's salmon or peas or something like that, rinse them out thoroughly.
You do realise that if you rinse it out, it actually kind of defeats the object of the recycling, because you're actually using more water to rinse it out than you are to actually save the environment by recycling it.
Well, I mean, most of the recycling thing uses more resources than it saves. Yeah. Because when they go and, you know, trundle all this rubbish thousands of miles across the continent to incinerate it in some burner in France or Germany, they're spending so much fuel getting it there that it's defeating the whole object of the exercise, you know.
Exactly, totally ridiculous.
And it doesn't work. You know, you send ships literally across the Atlantic full of logs to burn in coal stations in Yorkshire, which used to be coal stations, they have to be fired by wood. You use far more energy, you waste far more energy getting those logs from Canada to Yorkshire than you do save by changing it from coal to wood. It's a completely
nonsensical,
screwed and false economy put together by a load of political nutters to try and make out that we're saving the world.
Yeah, I mean, at least you don't do any recycling anyway. What about down in Portsmouth? Do you do any recycling down there?
Down in Portsmouth, yeah, there's a lot more bins there to put stuff in.
Right.
But the trouble is, it's the bin compound is rather dark, so I never know which one I'm putting it in, to be honest.
Right.
No, that's right,
you go there during the day?
Even during the day it's dark, because it's a closed room.
Oh,
you know, it's I don't know. It's just the way they do it, and they come along and they took away. That's right, absolutely.
Now, Tim's got some information for you. He says left luggage bags at Paddington Station are scanned like they are at an airport.
Oh, are they? Okay.
So maybe they do that in all the other places.
Yeah, maybe they do. Now, we were going to talking about motors, weren't we? Rum. Lewis Hamilton, who knackered his race for him?
I know.
Somebody
Absolutely
did.
ridiculous. Well, I wonder whether it was done deliberately, right?
Oh, it couldn't have been. No, I just can't believe that.
I'm not casting any aspersions here, right? But Nico Rosberg won Monaco last year. Lewis Hamilton has
won it for the last 2 years.
Yeah, has always wanted to win it, right? Hasn't ever won it.
Won it since 2008.
Since 2000, since he's been at Mercedes, though, right?
That's right.
So wants to win it, and he goes firing off like Billy O. Manages to get himself front of the grid and everything else
by 20 seconds.
The only possible way that could have happened is for Mercedes to have decided amongst themselves, and they'll never admit it, of course. Look, we've got to make this more of a 2-horse race, and we've got to let Rosberg win it. It just makes no sense. Why would you tell your fastest driver to come in
and change his tyres, which didn't need changing?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I mean, it's all very well saying, it's all down to the computers and they're reading the data wrong and all the rest of it. These are professionals.
They thought they had a bigger gap and all that. But I don't blame Lewis at the end for being grumpy.
No, I don't blame him either.
Because, when he had to get up on the podium and he came out third and there's Rosberg who'd been gifted the race. I thought he was very honourable to have shaken hands with Rosberg and congratulating him on the race. But of course his beef was not with Rosberg, it was with the team.
Yeah.
But then he refused to join the team photograph afterwards, and I don't blame him. I think it's a shocking state of affairs.
Yeah, but that's
absolutely
what I mean.
Shocking.
There must be somebody in that team who's... either if they don't fire somebody because of this, because they made a mistake, then that will tell you everything you need to know. That will tell you...
He's got to ask for somebody to be removed from the team.
Because he can't have those same people making those same mistakes
what I'm saying.
in another race, can he?
That's what I mean. If supposing somebody does it again. By the way, according to one of tomorrow morning's papers, Lewis Hamilton has got a new squeeze.
A new squeeze?
Yes.
What, you mean not the girl from the Pussycat Dolls anymore?
No. It's a girl called Kendall, model Kendall Jenner.
Oh, yeah.
Now, who's she?
I don't know. You're the one reading the paper.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Perhaps her father named her after Howard Kendall. Perhaps he's an Everton fan. But her name... you never know.
I very much doubt it.
Her name is Kendall Jenner. She wears Lewis Hamilton's gold chain.
Oh, yeah.
So
what's happened to Nicole Scherzinger, then?
Well, she went months ago.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did. They split up because, their careers were taken to different parts of the world all the time.
But I thought that was before he won it again last year. And they were back together again.
No.
There was that famous scene, do you remember, after he won?
Yes, when she kissed his helmet.
Kissed it? Well, I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, well, she did. I mean, whatever, below the visor.
Yeah.
And
don't go below the visor.
Don't go below the visor, that's right. And Lewis 30 was split with Nicole Scherzinger in February. Having better luck with the ladies and on the track. A bungle by his team meant he finished third at Monaco despite leading for most of the race. Well, that's a terrible thing. But apparently, this girl, Kendall, is... she's
a reality TV star, I think.
Is she? And, is she something to do with the Kardashians, apparently?
Oh, yeah, she's Bruce Jenner's kid. Then.
Little half-sister of Kim.
She's Bruce Jenner's child, then, isn't she?
Who's Bruce Jenner?
Bruce Jenner is the guy who used to be the Olympic athlete, who's now attached to the Kardashians, who's now going through a transgender process.
Is he transgender?
Yeah. He's becoming a woman, yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh,
how does all this pass you by?
I don't know.
You read the minutiae about people like Twinkle.
No,
you don't know anything about Bruce Jenner.
I'm not interested in transgenderisation. I've got no plans, à ce moment, to turn myself into a woman, believe it or not. So,
Well, that doesn't mean you don't know about the story, though, does it?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't really affect me. But anyway...
well, it doesn't really affect me either. How about this, by the way, from David, who's tweeted at the two mics, Twinkle. The Smiths recorded one of her songs called Golden Lights, apparently.
Did they? And that's amazing.
So she must have written more than one song. Well, your information must be wrong.
No, it's not wrong. What I'm saying is she did try to follow up, Terry with something else, but none of it ever worked.
Well, why did the Smiths record Golden Lights then?
They must like the song, but it was never a hit under her name or with her voice. And as I've said to you already, I've given you the complete story.
Yeah.
Her record contract was with her recording company was cancelled when she was 18.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been a very long career, could it?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, Zobon
Zobon
has tweeted me. He's with me on this. He says that was the plan. They didn't want Lewis to win because he was going to be too far ahead of Nico.
That's rubbish.
I think that's right.
That's rubbish. The gap now is only like 20 points, which is less than one victory's difference between the two. So it's going to be very close indeed. No,
well, Rob says, can you please tell the Porkster Twinkle had more hits, such as Golden Lights?
No, she didn't. She didn't.
Well, people seem to be coming up against your view here.
No. Well, why then did they cancel her contract when she was 18?
Oh, I don't know.
If she was going to be the next Cilla Black or Dusty Springfield, she'd have done hit after hit after hit.
Now, speaking of Dusty Springfield, I have to talk to you about the Eurovision Song Contest, because unbelievably, I saw you tweeting about it the other night.
I did, yeah.
That means you were watching it.
No, I watched a bit of it, seriously.
I can't believe you watched
it.
I
watched it for about 5 minutes, literally.
Absolutely incredible.
I'll tell you what I saw today, by the way.
Okay, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Well, go on then.
Dances with Wolves.
Oh, Dances with Wolves, one of the worst films ever.
Oh, it's just rubbish.
Absolutely
it is
awful.
Utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, crap.
I mean, if I'd have been the boss of the US Cavalry when I came across Kevin Costner, I'd have strung him up to a tree and shot him.
Well, I think that's what they wanted to do.
He was a traitor.
Yeah, he was a traitor.
He went over to the other side.
Yeah.
And for some unknown reason, he wanted to side with all the savages against the
Native Americans, you mean?
The Native Americans, well, but they were savages because they lived like savage life, if you see what I mean.
No, they didn't actually live a savage life.
No, I'm not saying they were savages by definition.
We just said they were savages.
Yeah, they were classed as savages by the invading white man.
But they were actually very inventive. They were very creative.
Oh, I think their culture's brilliant.
And they did not.
I love the North American Indians.
They did not live like savages, which is what you just said.
Geronimo's one of my heroes of all time. No, they were known as the savages. They were known as the savages, really.
Right. Well, that doesn't
because
mean
they lived in
though.
tepees and all that kind of stuff.
Teepees.
But it was a most ridiculous film because he couldn't understand why, as a US cavalry soldier, everybody was upset that he was running around with the Indians with feathers in his hair, fighting against the invading striped legs.
I would have strung
That's what
him
they're
up.
known as, you know.
Yeah, I know.
US cavalry, the striped legs.
I would have strung him up just for making such a bad film.
Yeah, but it was
way too long.
And by the way, he must have been the genius of the whole American nation. He learned how to speak Sioux in about 3 weeks, which is the most complicated language in the world. But he was he learnt it all and started conversing with them in about 2 or 3 weeks. And it doesn't explain anywhere in the film why he suddenly converted from being a US cavalry soldier to a Sioux.
I thought it was because he didn't like what it was.
A Sioux brave
that they were asking him to do. And
they weren't asking him to do anything. They didn't ask him to go and kill anybody or anything.
No, but they wanted him to, sort of defend this position, didn't they?
All they wanted him to do was get a pair of binoculars, sit in a hut on a hill and tell them what the Indians were doing.
Yeah.
It's quite simple.
Yeah, but he didn't want to do that.
Smoke signals, all that kind of stuff. That's all he had to do. I mean, it was a ridiculous film. Utter nonsense. It was all about, being the do-gooder. Oh, oppressed minorities, the Native Americans, got to help them. I didn't know they thought like that in the 18th century.
Well, apparently they did. Well, Kevin Costner did. I'm not sure it was a true story. Anyway, looking to the light for a moment. He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. We've got more coming up. Eurovision song. For extra time, we are the two Mikes. Of course, that was the Eurovision song winner, wasn't it, from Sweden?
I've no idea.
The guy in the leather trousers.
I've no idea.
You watched it. You were tweeting about it.
I saw it for 5 minutes and I said, doesn't it give you a yearning for the days of Bowie, John Lennon, real music,
you shouldn't
Queen,
be bothering watching
all that kind of stuff.
It's not a good
idea.
idea.
Listen, I've 2 statements I want to make about the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah, go on.
Why do we enter it anyway?
Well,
Why?
because we like to be humiliated by our near neighbours.
A, why do we enter it? And B, why do we give 2 or 3 hours of primetime television over to the most rubbishy show of the year?
Well,
it is utter trash.
People do watch it in large numbers.
No, they don't.
They do.
They watch it out of fascination for all the freaks that...
I can't believe they do, actually. I mean, I've steadfastly refused to watch it, and I didn't watch it this year, didn't watch it last year, didn't watch it the year before.
I mean, are we the greatest contemporary music nation in the world?
Probably.
Us in America?
Probably.
I think it's probably us, isn't it?
I would think so.
And that's what I'm saying. When we've given the world...
Per capita, certainly.
Yeah, per capita, yeah. I mean, look at the musical genii we've given to the world just over our lifetime. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Kinks, Queen, Freddie Mercury, Elton John. Do I have to go on? You see what I mean? The Who. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, The Who.
Twinkle.
Twinkle, that's right, yeah.
Apparently she had
ABBA.
6 hits, I'm told.
Hey?
I'm told she had
rubbish.
6 hits.
She
did.
Well, how come she had 6 hits and a contract was cancelled when she was 18?
She retired when she was 18, apparently.
Rubbish.
She obviously fell in love with the man from Milk Tray.
Yeah, the man from Milk Tray, that's right. Anyway, what I'm saying is...
Oh, here we go. This is the Smiths doing that song that she... It was a cover of hers. Golden Lights.
Why did you change? Boy in a million, I don't big star. I didn't tell you.
That's the first time I've ever heard a Smiths song.
Is it?
Yeah. Is that Morrissey
That's
singing?
Morrissey, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's a right nutter, isn't he?
He's a bit miserable, yeah.
He is, yeah. No, what I was going to say was...
You might take exception to you referring to him as that.
Oh, no, I think he's a self-confessed nutter, isn't he?
Well,
I think he has dark moments and he knows about all this, doesn't he?
I don't think he would consider himself to use that word.
Okay, all right, well, I'll use it for him. Anyway, what I was going to say was...
What were you going to say?
Why does anybody sit down and watch Eurovision Song Contest? I mean, it's not as if you like music. Oh, by the way, I saw talking about music, right? Talking about music. Paul McCartney was on at the O2.
Yes, I saw that, actually. And I've got very good reviews, because apparently he stopped doing... You know what somebody said was one of the most annoying things that he used to do?
Yes.
When he would do Hey Jude, he would do, all right, everybody on the left, start singing, and everybody on the right, and then all the ladies sing, and then all the men sing. And apparently he stopped doing that. He's finally worked out that actually that's a bit kind of passé, and you shouldn't do that with a crowd.
The review I read said that he wasn't very good, actually. It said that he's... It said, honestly, he's morphed into looking like a man who suddenly started a Beatles lookalike group. Right. You know what I'm talking about. What do they call? Not lookalikes.
Yeah, like a tribute band.
Tribute. Yeah, he looks like a man who bounds onto the stage and does a tribute. Yeah, I'll read this.
The difficult thing for Paul McCartney is that one, he dyes his hair, which is never a good thing.
Not a good thing.
I mean, particularly when you get
to be... It's like orange, isn't it?
Well, when you get to be 70 odd, I mean, I think people would understand if he had grey hair or even white hair, and it probably actually would look more cool.
Yes.
To be honest.
Yes.
And also his voice, as we found out at the closing ceremony, Olympic
it's cracking a bit, isn't it? Yeah.
Isn't as good as it was. But still, you'd still go and see him probably, wouldn't you?
Well, I did go and see him at the O2 about 3 or 4 years ago. I went with Andy Townsend, and in fact, Martin, what's his name, had joined us in the box.
Martin who?
Martin, who used to be manager of Sunderland.
Martin,
used to be manager of Leicester as well.
Martin O'Neill.
Martin O'Neill, that's right. Yeah, he was in the box with us. But let me read this.
You're in a box.
We're in the box, best box.
Why are we in a box?
At the side of the stage.
Yeah.
Just because, we were special.
Somebody else was paying?
Well, no, I paid. It was £600 a seat.
Oh, yeah.
And we went for a dinner first in the restaurant, and then we went up into the box and served drinks in the box.
Excessive for a concert, isn't it?
Yeah, it was great, though. Honestly, it was marvellous, yeah. But, let me read this. This is in the Times, so this is not, any rubbish. This is the Times. A guy called Will Hodgkinson. And this is this opening here. It says...
But I bet you he's quite a young guy, Will Hodgkinson,
well, he might be. He might be. I don't know who he is, actually, but he signed Will Hodgkinson, OK? So he says this: seeing Paul McCartney's latest London concert was like being at a wedding and witnessing your embarrassing uncle perform the greatest songs in the world, most of which, by the way, he had by some miracle written himself. Having his children, grandchildren and wife Nancy in the audience may well have bolstered his enthusiasm, but you did wish McCartney would rein it in a little. So, hey, listen, he said, doing nothing to suppress his double thumbs-up tendencies. He's always doing that.
Well, that is a bit cheesy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. When people, there's people that I know who went to the show said one of the things that they really weren't happy that you'd stopped doing was this nonsense of, because it was almost too cheesy for words, to go, all right, everybody on the left,
sing, and everybody on the right, sing, yeah. But apparently he's still doing a bit of that, because on the stage he said, how many here tonight are from London? Hooray! How many are not from London? Hooray! How many came from outside the UK? Hooray! And it was all that kind of stuff, welcome.
Well, maybe some people like that. Maybe you should just go to Vegas and do 6 months in Vegas or something like that. Because why is he touring anyway?
No, his opening song, I don't know, because he just likes doing it. Yeah. His opening song was We Can Work It Out.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that our closing song at our live stage show?
It is indeed.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah. Right.
Well, the difference is he actually wrote it and we're just nicking it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did, yeah, we just play it. But anyway, it says, you see, now when we went, he only played classics, but here he played Can't Buy Me Love 8 days a week. That's one of my favourite Beatles songs.
Yeah.
Ooh, I need your love, babe. I guess you know it's true. Right?
Yeah. He probably voices a bit better than his now.
Yeah, it probably is. The band, this is where he goes. The band sounded like a Beatles tribute act, losing the charm of the songs in favour of a stadium rock sound, which was odd, given that McCartney is the one man on the planet capable of not being a Beatles tribute act. That's amazing. They creatively picked up for Temporary Secretary, I've never heard of that, an electronic piece from the 1980s McCartney 2 album. Yeah. He says that might have confused 10,000 Beatles fans. It certainly would have confused me.
Yeah, I think the problem is that, people who write about McCartney now as well, who are music critics, are probably not really, aficionados perhaps of the Beatles.
Probably
they went around and it was all very good.
Do you know what was amazing? You know when the Beatles split up, I mean, he went into catatonic shock. I mean, he just, what am I going to do now? It was that sort of thing, Be a bit like if you and I walked in one morning and TalkSport had closed down, you know what I mean?
Right.
It
wouldn't be like you and I split it up then.
It'd be like you and I split it up, that's right. But the raison d'etre for his life, when Lennon and Harrison walked out.
Imagine if you met somebody like Yoko Ono.
Yeah, that's right.
And decided that you were going to go all baggism on me.
Yeah, that's right.
And therefore you didn't want to perform anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to perform anymore. And so what happened was, right, he then decided to get a van and Denny Lane.
Right.
And the first place he tipped up at, believe it or not, was Nottingham University.
Really?
The real university.
The real one, not the University of the Trent.
Not the University of the Trent, and he went to the Students' Union and said, I'm Paul McCartney, can you play a concert? That was his first ever live concert. Really? But then he spent the next 20 years touring the world with Wings, when in fact every concert he went to, all the people in the audience...
They just wanted to play Beatles music,
They weren't interested in all these Wings songs, Jet and Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
No, and so by the time I got to see him at the O2 about 3 or 4 years ago, after he'd done 25 years on the road with Wings, it finally clicked in his head. Yeah. Actually, they're not interested in Wings at all. So he played things like, Hey
Wings
Jude...
sold a lot of albums, though.
Hey Jude, Let It Be, Mother Kintyre and all that. It was wonderful and all that. Yeah, they did sell a lot of albums.
Well, Mother Kintyre was a Paul McCartney song, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course it was, yeah. But I mean, it was
it wasn't a Beatles song.
Yeah, it wasn't a Wings song either. It was a Paul McCartney song. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Now, let me read you a couple of texts and tweets here. Rick from Addleston says, good morning, Mike's. On litter, the Portmeister is bang on the money.
Thank you.
I spent 10 minutes several evenings clearing up litter around the local park.
Excellent.
Dedicated to servicemen and women of World War I and II. Yeah. My view is local takeaways and convenience stores should pay an extra levy to fund litter squads and more bins to clear up their refuse by bylaw. Yeah. Higher prices for their customers, but necessary, I fear. I think they already do. I'm pretty sure that certainly some of the fast food joints will pay extra money, and they'll also provide bins outside. Well, the problem is not the litter that's created by the fast food business. It's the fact that the people who eat fast food are so piggish that they don't actually throw the stuff away.
But it says in one of the proposals in this new legislation, to get tough, is that every shop that sells food to take away will have to charge 5p for the container from now on.
Right.
i.e. the bag
but
you put it in and all
stop
that.
people throwing it away.
Well, I hope it will. I hope it will, or they won't take it. And by the way, talking about splitting up, by the way, you see that in an interview that Art Garfunkel's given...
Yes, I wanted to bring this to your attention.
He said the reason Simon and Garfunkel split up was because Paul Simon was so small. He's only 5'3".
I have to tell you, I read this. I tweeted this story out, an interview with Art Garfunkel. Yeah. And I must say, it rang some very, very familiar bells with you and I. First of all, he said, for example, that he created a monster with Paul Simon.
That's right, yeah.
Because he said he had a Napoleon complex.
That's right.
Because he was this little short bloke.
5'3".
He thought that he was always right.
That's right, yeah. I know, yeah.
Do you know what his inside leg measurement was?
No, I've no idea. And
26.5.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. But listen, Paul Simon, a bit like the relationship you and I have, had every reason to feel like that because he was so incredibly gifted.
He was.
I mean, people who write songs like, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover and...
American Tune.
American Tune.
American Tune's a great song.
And things like Me and Julia Down in the Schoolyard and all that kind of stuff.
That was Cat Stevens.
No, it wasn't. Me and Julia Down by the Schoolyard.
Oh, yeah, you're right, that was Paul Simon.
Gracelands, the whole LP there. Yes. And then all the early hits like Mrs. Robinson and all that. Because Garfunkel's basically the piano player, wasn't he?
Well, no, he was just really the a cappella, the other singer. He was the guy that sang with a different voice.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I mean, because he went off and did, his incredibly successful solo career, which pretty much climbed with Bright Eyes, a song about a rabbit.
No, I think his solo career started with Bridge Over Troubled Water, and about 10 years later finished with Bright Eyes.
That was Simon Garfunkel. Bridge Over Troubled Water. That was both of them.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was just him.
No,
was it both of them? Well, he sang it.
He sang it though, yeah.
Yeah, because he was on the piano.
He was a better singer, I think.
Oh, he's a better singer, was he? I see. Okay, yeah. But
Paul Simon was the
songwriter.
Was the brains, and that was where I thought the comparisons between you and I ended.
Yeah, well, exactly. Bright eyes, burning like fire.
You wouldn't know it was about a rabbit, would you?
But he said here, you see, they went to school together, this lot. So he said the singer said that when the pair were at school, this is Art Garfunkel, said when the pair were at school together, he felt so sorry for Simon because he was so little. His height was obviously a detriment to him, and he offered his friendship as compensation. He said, and that compensation gesture has created a monster.
Really?
They're both 73 now, and... I
don't think they get along, do they?
Well, they had a reunion tour in 2003.
Yeah, but that was only really for the money, wasn't it?
It was only for the money, and that was 10 years ago, and they haven't hardly spoken to each other since.
Yeah. Because they were supposed to do a big open-air concert in Central Park.
Oh, were they?
And one of them didn't turn up for it.
Is that right?
I think that happened, yeah.
God, I didn't realise they split up in 1970.
Yeah,
God.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, this is a strange one.
Right.
From Paul, who's tweeted in. He says, I was in a shop earlier when a man with a resemblance to Mr. Parry pushed in and demanded to be served. And then he says, rather quizzically, I hope he enjoyed the muffins. Did you buy muffins today?
No.
Why would he send that?
I don't know.
Did you buy anything in a shop today?
I went to a shop this evening. And it was a terrible experience. It was on the way in.
Right.
And a group of homeless people who smelt disgustingly and we're buying fortified wine.
Really?
Yeah. No
I'll
joke.
tell you what, you can't tell me now. You have to hold on to that thought. And
Yeah.
we'll explore Porky's horrible experience buying fortified wine a little bit earlier on before the show. I don't think you should drink that Thunderbird stuff before you come in here. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Very excited about winners and losers, actually, because I've got so many. I think I've got about 10 for each that I'm going to have to pare down to 3.
Yeah, but you can't state the obvious, you see. I don't want the statement of the obvious. They've got to be...
no, they have to be very good.
Different
yeah,
and
well, I
unique.
know. That's what they will be. Now, so tell us this story about the people you found yourself stuck behind in the shopping queue.
A pretty unruly mob, to
Really?
be honest, and unsavoury. An unsavoury mob, yeah.
Unsavoury?
Yes.
And was this just around the corner here, was it?
Yeah, it was just down the road at Lambeth North Tube Station.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Why Lambeth North?
Well, I don't know. I was just passing. I thought, I'll tell you what, I need some sustenance tonight, so I'll just call in there. But I didn't buy any muffins.
You didn't buy any muffins?
No.
Are you sure you didn't buy any muffins?
Certain.
Why would you not? I've never seen you eat a muffin anyway.
No, exactly. What would I
So
want a
what
muffin
did you
for?
buy then?
Just things.
Things?
Yeah, I can't quite
Well,
remember now. What's it matter?
What was it, a supermarket shop?
No, it's
it
one of these 24-hour stores. They sell everything, don't they?
Right.
So I think I got a...
What did you get for sustenance then?
I think I got a bottle of pop and I got some chewing gum and stuff, you know. And actually, believe it or not, I think I did get a packet of lean ham.
Lean ham?
Yeah, because
I haven't seen you eating any lean ham.
No, well, you know, I'm quite discreet in what I do, you know. I don't see people
Well, I've got
eating...
some very bad news for you, Mr. Parry.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
Just during the news there, I went outside and I found this on your desk.
What's that?
It's a muffin.
So
you found... So there's a muffin on your desk.
I didn't put it there.
It's a blueberry muffin.
I didn't put it there.
It's still in its wrapping.
Well, I don't know whose that
I'm going
is.
to tweet out a picture of it to show people.
That's...
Well, you don't know where it came from?
No, you stitched me up now.
No, I
haven't
haven't
you?
stitched you up.
Just somebody
A
sent
guy-
me
a guy sends
I don't
in a
eat
message.
muffins, they're too fattening.
A guy
and
sends
I've
in
got
a
to watch
message.
my heart. Only 1/3 of my heart works.
A guy-
and I have to
A
look
guy
after
sent
it.
a message in saying that he
Yes.
spotted you pushing in the queue.
I wasn't pushing any
'Cause I
queue.
can imagine you pushing.
No, I resent that. No, I had to wait behind a down-and-out person.
Well, there's only one of them now, was there?
No, there's at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for down-and-out people, but golly, you know, they can be unsavoury just because of their lifestyle. I mean,
So
I'm
did you
not
push
saying
in
their
front of
lifestyle anything
Are
wrong.
you suggesting the guy who's tweeted in then was a down and out?
Well, no, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I'm sure he hasn't. I'm sure he... But he just
Quite
must have
nice looking
mistaken
muffin,
me
actually.
for somebody else.
So you won't mind if I eat it then?
Well, I wouldn't want you to eat it.
Why not?
Well, because we've got a show to do and it'd be wrong, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm not going to eat it during the show, but
No.
I mean, I'm quite
No.
hungry, so I might actually eat it during one of the breaks or something. But is it your muffin?
No.
You're saying it's not your muffin?
It's not my muffin.
So why was it sitting next to all your stuff?
Well, I don't know. I didn't put it there. I mean, you know, we do have a hot desking policy here at TalkSport.
I don't think anyone would leave a muffin.
Can be people around, you know, but
Well, it was
I tell
right
you what,
next to
give
your
that
stuff.
to me and I'll sort it out for you. I'll go and find its real owner. Okay.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
I don't think you should eat muffins from those kind of places. I mean, if you want to buy a decent muffin, you go to a proper, muffin shop or a supermarket or something
Why?
where they sell stuff that's. I mean, God knows when that one was made. It's probably about a week
What's it
old.
all about?
Well, it doesn't look like a particularly nice muffin.
Well, I didn't buy it, but I mean, I have a look now, and there's a date on it, and it says you can eat this until the 15th of September.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
Quite a long
does
way
it?
away, isn't
It's
it?
not
Yeah.
exactly. It's not exactly what you might call.
Anyway, there you go. I don't know what I'm talking about muffins for.
Well, you see, I can imagine you in a shop
Yes.
pushing to the front because you're one of
No.
those people that thinks that first class travel is what you should do. You
No.
don't like mixing with the hoi polloi in second class trains.
No.
I imagine you probably think there's some kind of fast track at one of these shops, so you can just go, look, I'm here. I've got my very expensive car outside. Do you mind serving me first?
No.
I'm in a big hurry.
No, I didn't do any of that, honestly. And I do quite resent, this sort of image you portray of me of being uncaring to fellow society. I mean, I may have been a little unkind in referring to the homeless people as unsavoury, but I'm afraid that they do emanate odours of extreme tobacco use, extreme alcohol use.
Right.
Perhaps shortage
Not
of
dissimilar
showering
to you, then.
facilities in their their way of life and that kind of stuff. And I feel very sorry for them if they are genuinely on the streets because life has kicked them in the solar plexus. But nevertheless, one has to be aware of one's surroundings.
Well,
okay?
That's
all I'm saying.
I've tweeted out this picture now, the blueberry muffin, and on my Twitter, which is at IROMG,
Hmm.
mysterious muffin discovered on the Mike Parry workstation.
Well,
That's what it is.
No, so I found out something at the weekend as well, because I keep my eye on trends in this country. Do you know that property in coastal locations is soaring at an unprecedented rate.
Is it?
Unprecedented rate.
And why is that then?
It's because... well, I'll tell you that in a minute. But what is most telling about this is that for the first time, Sandbanks, right, which we'd always believed to be one of the sort of wealthiest pieces of land estate in the world, has now been overtaken by Aldeburgh in Suffolk.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Well, Suffolk's become very trendy, hasn't it?
Well, of course it has. I live there.
You don't live in Suffolk.
I do.
No, you don't.
I do, in Orwell Quay. And Orwell Quay is in Suffolk.
Well, you don't live there, though.
Well, I mean, it's and now the last tenant has left and I'm having it renovated, and it will become my third abode.
Well, no, it won't be.
Yes, it
you'll
will.
just rent it out again, surely.
No, I won't. No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to. It's time of life now where...
When will you ever get up to Suffolk?
Well, you know, Mr. Brazil lives only 10 miles away. I sometimes go up and see him.
He'll be delighted, I'm sure.
So I can stay there. But it's on a beautiful marina. It's Orwell Quay. It's the name of the marina. And
is it named after George Orwell, or is it named after Orwell the duck?
It's not... That's Orville, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yes. I don't think it's named after George Orwell, but I tell you something, Aldeburgh, right? Now, I took a trip up there once, only half an hour from my place at Orwell Quay, and it is the most beautiful resort, and it was bound to be discovered one day. There's a little hotel at the end of the beach, and then you walk along the beach, and there's all these lovely little pubs and places, fish and chip shops, all that kind of stuff. It is absolutely
Well, who
beautiful.
was it that rented a home up? Was it not Gordon Brown that rented a home up there one time for the holidays?
I think he did for holiday for 2 weeks.
And he rented it from a former Fleet Street photographer, funnily enough.
Yeah, who was that?
Paul, it was not Pete Hogan, Dave Hogan.
Dave Hogan, that's right. Yeah, I know Dave. Yeah, he was a celebrity photographer as well, wasn't he? But it says here, Salcombe in Devon. Oh, hang on, sorry. So it's not Aldeburgh. No, it's Salcombe. So it says Salcombe in Devon has been named as Britain's most expensive seaside town for home buyers. The average price of property in the pretty coastal resort is now $672,000.
Blimey.
According to a survey of the housing market. In 196 seaside locations, Sandbanks in Dorset, home to celebrities including football manager Harry Redknapp, was the country's second most expensive seaside town, with average property costing $614. But guess where the biggest appreciation of property has taken place in this country?
Where?
Somewhere close to your heart.
What, down in Sussex?
No, Lerwick.
Lerwick? What, in Scotland?
Well, I didn't know that Lerwick was anywhere else. It was in Scotland when I last looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why is it Lerwick then?
Well, because of the... I don't know. I'll tell you the reason in a minute. The 10 most expensive seaside towns are in southern England, with 7 of them being in the southwest alone. Outside the southwest, one of the most expensive seaside towns is Aldeburgh on the Suffolk coast, where the average house price is now $413. Okay.
Well, you'd be delighted by that. Well, how much is your place worth then?
Where?
Is it another penthouse?
In Orwell Quay?
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't like to get into that. People don't want to know about the value of my property. No, they don't.
Just don't forget that you tweeted out your council tax bill once from the place down in Portsmouth.
Yes, I did.
And everyone was mocking it because it was such a low band.
Well, exactly, that's right. Yeah.
So it's not worth that much.
Well, of course it is. But, I mean, the point... why did I tweet that out?
I had no idea, because you were moaning about the council tax that you had to pay and how high
that's right.
it was.
Yeah, I think I was, yeah.
But by mistake, you tweeted out all the details of the band and everything.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, well. I think it's a band D, isn't it, or something?
Like
I don't know. But anyway, no, they don't know. The reason why property prices will escalate, and I learnt this, I mean, I was smart than the average bear. I worked this out like 15 years ago, okay? Yeah. Is because, and I've got a lot of places on the coast, and the reason being is that there is only so much coastline.
Yeah.
So if you have got a bit of that coastline, that is yours forever.
Yeah.
And they can't...
I wouldn't say forever.
It is. It is.
No. I mean, what about the encroachment and the erosion of the
the
island and all that?
Oh, no. If you get it right like I do, and you build you buy a property that is built on solid foundations and not on the edge of a crumbling cliff like some idiots do, you know, then you're going to be okay.
Well, most of those are older houses, aren't they?
Yeah, well, yes, they are, yeah. But what I'm saying is this. That you can't expand the coastline in this country. You can build on as many green fields as you like, and people will do forever because you've got to have more and more houses. But you can't build on more coastline because there isn't any coastline. Right. That means...
So have you got a nice view of the sea then from your place?
Yeah, yes, of course I have. Of course I have. Of course I have.
It's not just a view of the marina?
No. I've got
high
a view.
Up is it?
Oh, it's about 7th floor.
7th floor.
And it's it looks over the Orwell Quay and it looks out over the North Sea.
So can you see Holland on a clear day?
No, you can see Felixstowe.
Felixstowe?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. And of course, it is very picturesque and all that.
No, it's not a million miles away from Norwich, which we haven't talked about yet.
And they build Sunseeker boats right opposite, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Those very expensive yachts that go to
those are the ones
people.
I sent pictures out of not long ago.
That's right, yeah.
But your dinghy is there as well, isn't it?
Of course it is, the Rib. The rib. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about Norwich in a minute as well, because, of course...
well, it was pretty brilliant, wasn't it? Pretty brilliant.
Back in the Premier League, and Mr.
I can't believe their manager. He came from Hamilton Academicals.
Oh, hang on. Just look into the light for a second, because we're running out of time.
About the light.
We'll talk about Hamilton Ackies and, of course, Mr. Neil, coming up next on TalkSport.
TalkSport on DAB, digital radio, and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
TalkSport.
Come on! Let's be having you! I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
Johnson cuts infield, runs diagonally through the centre of the Middlesbrough half, pops it off to Jerome. There's space on this right side for Whittaker. They've got 3 yellow shirts on the edge of the area. One of them is Redmond. He takes it onto his right foot, shoots. Oh, brilliant! What a goal from Nathan Redmond! What a fantastic take from the edge of the box with his back to goal. He turns the ball right at the defender and lashes it across the floor and into the far corner. He scored a corker in the semi-final against Ipswich, and he's put Norwich 2-0 up against Middlesbrough in the Championship playoff final.
It was live TalkSport commentary, of course, of Norwich against Middlesbrough. And the only reason I bring it up, apart from obviously to congratulate Norwich for getting back into the Premier League, is to pick you up once more on your oft sort of quoted phrase, which is nobody goes to Norwich.
No, they don't.
Well, now there's going to be every other Premier League team going there, as they were the year before.
I went there in 1987 when Everton won the Football League.
1987.
Yeah, we won the game that won it for us was our last away game at Norwich.
Right, was that last time you were there then?
Yes.
So you've never been back to Norwich since? Don't you think it's probably changed quite a bit since 1987?
Well, it may have done.
That's like, what, 28 years ago?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I mean, the only things I remember about it are East Anglia University and Anglia TV. Right. But Anglia TV doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No,
like Yorkshire TV doesn't exist anymore.
But I'm sure they've got, whatever it now does for Anglia TV.
That's right, but what I'm saying is, I mean, I don't say this derogatorily, but I think they should build a motorway to Norwich.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Because otherwise you've got to go either via Ipswich and, Cambridge, Ipswich, and then all the way up the blinking East Coast to Norwich.
Well, imagine Bournemouth fans. Bournemouth playing
exactly.
Norwich. But, I mean, they had to do that in the last league, the Championship anyway, didn't
Yes, that's right, they did, yeah. But what I'm saying is, I've got nothing against Norwich. In fact, I think it's a fine city. But not enough people go there because the communication routes to it are hopeless. Communication routes in this country, east to west, are absolutely desperate. They're not that good, north to south.
No, they're not.
But they're desperate east to west.
East to west
they
is
really
dreadful,
are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Unless you're going sort of east and west out of London.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Anything kind of in any kind of latitude above that or
below, even from Birmingham, the second city, you can't really go east or west.
No.
When I was at the University of the Trent in Nottingham...
Why are you making those seal noises?
Sorry, but I was just thinking aloud. And I had a girlfriend in Birmingham. And to get from Nottingham to Birmingham in those days was a nightmare. Right. I'm not joking. Right. You were driving on B roads, around the country and all that. I
once my nightmare of trying to get from Cardiff when I was working for the Welsh Mirror. Yeah. Trying to get from Cardiff to Brighton because there was a Labour Party conference I had to get to. And there was no way to go from basically west of that kind of latitude from Cardiff down to east, down to Brighton because all the roads go from west to east. Like southwest to northeast.
That's right.
So you have to keep going back on yourself.
And actually, I used to go to the Cheltenham races. We've all been to Cheltenham races quite a lot. And then afterwards, I'd go and see a mate of ours in Swindon. Well, not Swindon actually, in Marlborough, the other side of the motorway. But getting down from Cheltenham, you'd think, that'd be easy, straight down sort of through the counties and all that. That was a nightmare. The road communication in this country are dreadful. That's why we should cancel HS2, that ridiculous rail project.
Well, you see, they're cancelling it to Scotland. They're not going to put it into Scotland now, apparently, because there's no business case to put it into Scotland. Well, as some people have said, there's no business case to put it anywhere.
No, there isn't, because they say, it'll shorten the journey from London to Birmingham. Yeah. Well, who's bothered about, knocking 14 minutes off that journey?
I know.
And anyway, what it'll do is, it'll do what happened in, I've said this before, in Tokyo and in Brussels. It will suck people into the big city. It will not allow people to come out of the big city and spread their wings.
No, it won't.
People just get sucked back into the big city. It's as simple as that.
They've tried that several times, haven't they, by setting up things like, like the tax offices are in Edinburgh and, various other, DVLA in Cardiff. Nobody actually moves there. It certainly provides, jobs for people who work there already, but nobody moves anywhere.
Absolutely right. Even to the extent where the BBC moved their like Sports Operation and 5 Live up to Manchester, and then lost half of its best presenters because they said they didn't want to go there.
Didn't fancy living up there.
No, you can't. You cannot take the movement of Labour for granted. As we put this here as a magnet to people to go. People want to stay in London for some unknown reason, because I'd love to move out of London, but people want to stay here.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Talking about Norwich, what about their manager? This boy is a revelation, is he
Alex
not?
Neil.
Yeah,
right.
From Hamilton Ackies, who used to be a musical joke just because of their name, really, Hamilton Academicals, And now he comes down there. I mean, you've got to say full marks to the chairman of Norwich, or the chief executive of Norwich, I
remember Alan Brazil when this guy was appointed. I mean, nobody was really sure even who he was. No. And nobody thought it was a great idea.
He's only 33 now,
He's going to be the youngest Premier League manager, apparently.
So you've got to say, full marks to him. And somebody told me last week Middlesbrough would walk that game because they were easily the best club in the division, and had proved this time and time again.
And also there's the Jose Mourinho connection, isn't there?
The Jose Mourinho connection, absolutely right, yeah. But it didn't work out that way, did it? So there we go. We can all look forward to going to Norwich next season if we're a travelling fan.
Yeah, but you won't be going to Norwich, will you? Because nobody goes there.
No, well, nobody does go. I keep telling you, I've explained the position. It's because the road contacts there are not good enough.
Now, what about Steve McClaren? Because we talked about him a little bit earlier on, but we didn't really finish the thought. Where's he going to go now that he's leaving Derby?
How you shade in English? Yeah, Steve McClaren.
Yeah, well, he's going to start maybe talking like West Ham, because on the back of the Express, it says, bizarrely, Hammer's in no rush for axed Steve. And they say Carlo Ancelotti and Steve McClaren were both sacked yesterday, but neither looks set to end up at West Ham.
No, well, you can't imagine Ancelotti going to West Ham.
Can't really,
you? No, you can't.
I'm sure they'd like to think that he would.
No, he'd go to another stellar club. He's got a fantastic track record. Yeah. This is a man who's won 3 Champions Leagues.
Yeah, he has.
Hasn't he? 2 with AC Milan, 1 with Real Madrid. Is that right?
He has, yeah.
And the idea of him going to West Ham, and I'm not demeaning West Ham. West Ham's a great club. Got their own plans for the future, but no, not Ancelotti. He wouldn't. He wouldn't consider it. I think that. I think West Ham thought that the attraction of the forthcoming Olympic Stadium and all that kind of stuff would attract a high calibre of manager.
Yeah.
But although we've all got some regard for Slaven Bilic for his record as an international boss when he was in charge of Serbia or
I think
Croatia.
It was Serbia or Croatia.
One or two. Yeah. What's the one that wears the red and white?
That's
diamond?
Croatia.
That's Croatia. Yeah. It was Croatia, wasn't it? But he hasn't sort of moved on.
And he's done all right at Besiktas.
Well, he's kind of done all right. He's kind of done all right, isn't he? But coming to the Premiership and trying all that again is a big move for them. And of course, the one thing they can't do is they can't possibly flirt with relegation next season, because just flirting with relegation will so spook the investors they've got lined up to make the Olympic Stadium work.
I think it'll go horribly wrong for them.
Well, it could, but it shouldn't, should it? Because they should be in charge of their own destiny now and appoint a manager, even if they've got to pay a tremendous amount of money for it.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam's a very highly paid manager, wasn't he?
He was. One of the highest paid club managers in the world.
Somebody told me that, they have to pay up to £6 million a year for a manager to ensure they get a really decent
incredible,
one.
Isn't
That's
it?
Incredible money.
Now, I've got a great text here from somebody who doesn't give their name, unfortunately. However, it says this, and it's just ahead of Winners and Losers. Dear Mr. Graham, ever since Porky won last week's Winners and Losers, there's been all kinds of strange and surprising events. Prince Charles shook hands with Jerry Adams, Catholic Ireland voted for gay marriage, a World War II bomb at Wembley, an earthquake in Kent, and most shocking of all, Newcastle won a football match. All this turbulence can mean only one thing: a rare Porky victory is one of the harbingers of the apocalypse. If he wins again tonight, I'm battening down the hatches.
OK, well, you might have to batten down the hatches. I've got some very, very tasty selections.
Now, are we going to do it the same way as we did it last week?
Yes.
You want it to favourite for
please.
you, retweet for me? Is that the way you want it?
Yes, definitely. Whatever worked last week is going to work for me again, OK?
Yeah, I can't remember which way we did it last week.
Hey, by the way, all this drinking that you were getting stuck into over the weekend, and don't deny it, because I know it to be true. All this drinking you've got stuck into over the weekend.
No, in fact, no, because I didn't drink at all on Friday because I was working.
Yes,
I didn't drink at all on Saturday, actually, because I was busy doing stuff with the kids.
OK, but last night you relented.
I had a bottle of Bollinger, broke it open about 5, 6 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and then had a couple more glasses of wine before I went to bed quite early, actually.
Yeah. No, the reason I'm talking to you about this is
why?
15,000 bottles of Prosecco have been recalled.
Yes.
Because they keep exploding.
Exploding
What's
Prosecco?
Going on?
I don't know.
What is going on?
I don't know. Actually, I had a bottle of Prosecco yesterday as well.
Did you?
After the Bollinger. But it didn't explode.
Well, how can you go from Bollinger, which is a refined taste, to Prosecco, which is cheap?
Well, it's not. Well, Prosecco's very nice.
Trash-like drinking,
I
isn't
just
it?
happened to have one hanging around in the fridge, so I thought might as well.
How much does a bottle of Prosecco cost?
Oh, it's about £7.
7?
Yeah.
Once, just 7?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah, it's very cheap. In fact, you buy 2 for a tenner at some places at the moment.
I don't know who would want to drink that. And what size is the bottle? The size of a wine bottle?
Well, it's the size of a champagne bottle. It's a bottle. Same, 75 centilitres.
That's well, how come champagne's so much more expensive than Prosecco? What is in Prosecco?
Prosecco is sparkling wine, effectively. It's not champagne. Champagne is from the Champagne region of France. Nobody else can call it champagne unless it comes from there. The grape has to come from there, and it's a very, laborious process.
It's poor man's champagne, then, isn't it? Obviously,
it is poor man's champagne. Yeah. We talked last week about how it's been going through the roof in terms of I think it's £1 billion worth has been sold in this country alone.
Champagne is so ridiculously priced. And what I don't get is you see these offers, right? Supermarkets says, just for 1 week only, champagne £12.50. Yeah. So that means that when you're paying 70 quid for it, the shop's making 50 quid on a bottle.
No,
it's ludicrous.
No, they don't sell £70 champagne for $12.50, do they?
Well, I don't know.
They sell No, they sell £25 champagne for $12.50.
Well, didn't know you could even get champagne for 25 quid these days. Yeah, well, I think the whole thing's a rip-off. That's one reason why I don't drink champagne. It's a rip-off. Second reason, of course, is that only 1/3 of my heart works, and the bubbles in it can really aggravate the.
So you keep saying.
Can aggravate the blood vessels.
Well, it doesn't mean you can't buy me any, though, does it?
Well, I have bought you stuff in the past.
Yeah, I know you have.
I remember we went to that place down near the HMS Belfast and I bought you a bottle there.
You did?
Yeah.
That's right.
So stop whinging.
And how much was that?
I think that was 50 quid.
Really?
I think so.
It wasn't that good.
Quite reasonable.
We are the two Mikes. He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. It wasn't that good.
I bought it for you.
No, I'm saying
it's the only one they had on sale.
I'm saying you were ripped off. I'm trying to do you a favour. Winners and losers coming next. So it's that time of the week again, Mr. Parry. You won last week for the first time ever against me, so the current score is 4 to me and 1 to you.
Yeah.
It's a retweet.
That's 'cause you gerrymandered it.
Not at all. It's a retweet for me to win, and it's favourite for Mike Parry to win. Now, some people have said in the past, what if I like Mike Parry's winners, but I don't like his losers as much? Well, you can, you can judge at the end and decide, who you want to send the retweet or the favourite for.
Good thinking.
I think that's the way to go. Now, as you won last week, I'll let you go first with the losers.
Right. Okay, the losers, right?
You've
okay.
got 3, right?
I've got 3, yeah. Now, the biggest loser this week, is a chap called Peter Newman.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Peter Newman is a German chap.
Yeah.
And he's got a bratwurst sausage stall.
Has he?
Yeah. And, and I'll tell you where it is. It's outside the Schalke ground,
is
okay?
It? Right, okay.
Now,
it's a very long way away, this.
Roberto Di Matteo, who is the manager of Schalke, right, decided he didn't want his players training at the ground anymore, where they've trained for years and years and years, so he took them to a new training ground. As a result, the fans no longer turn up to watch training, and Peter Newman's bratwurst sausage stall has closed down after going out of business.
Oh, dear.
All due to Roberto Di Matteo. So I'm afraid that Peter Newman is my top loser of the week. The boy has gone into liquidation because there's nobody there to buy his bratwurst sausages.
Well, there'll be loads of people going into liquidation throughout the course of this week. Why would you pick somebody at a German football club?
No, I'm sorry. This poor chap is suffering badly. The second loser of the week for me, this is a great one, by the way, Colin Montgomery, because he's just won his 3rd seniors major title, okay?
Right, okay. How does that make him a loser, then?
Because he went 72 majors as a professional, the proper competitions, without winning one.
Yeah, and he still hasn't won one.
He's now won 3 on the seniors circuit.
Yeah, but they're not really
Of course they're not. Of course they're not. So I'm not classing him as a winner, I'm classing him as a loser, because it emphasises just what exactly went wrong with his career. Yeah. He couldn't win a proper major, and he's made up for it by winning 3 on the seniors. Which have you ever been to a seniors competition?
I don't think I have. No.
Do you know what the size of the crowds is?
They're quite small, I would imagine.
None.
Really?
Nobody ever goes to watch it.
I mean, I would imagine if you get some players like Lee Trevino and Arnold Palmer and that kind of thing.
Nobody goes.
Really?
No. We had one at the Stockbroker Belt one near me. You know the one I'm talking about?
Wentworth?
No, over the other side. Walton Heath. Yeah, there was one there a couple of years ago, and I just happened to be out walking. I didn't even know it was there. I happened to be out walking and came across the golf course, started strolling across it, all these boards up and all over the place. Oh, it's the seniors. So I thought the following week I'll go down and have a look and see who's there. There was nobody there. The players were there.
It's just the European tour, though, isn't it? I think the American Seniors Tour does okay.
Yeah, I think it does.
They have some bigger names.
I think it does. Well, Tom Watson, who nearly won the Open 3 years
Watson,
ago.
You'd have Nicholas, you'd have all those guys, Lee Trevino, and they're still quite funny.
Yeah, but it doesn't work in this country.
Okay.
And the third loser, and I mean some of these are going to be obvious because of all the people who've lost out this weekend, is West Ham United.
Yeah.
I just think that they've pitched themselves into a no man's land because they've got rid of Sam Allardyce, but clearly two of the targets they wanted to come and take over, and that is Rafael Benitez.
Yes, or Rafa Benitez, as most people call
Rafa Benitez, as most people call him, and David Moyes have given it the firm thumbs down.
Yeah, do you remember what I said last week? Is David Moyes coming over to talk to West Ham?
No,
did he talk to them?
Yes, he has had talks with them, yes.
So you see, I was right. You said, oh no, he's coming to watch Preston.
No. His intermediaries had talks with them, but it wasn't on that occasion. Oh, okay. It was a long time before that. He turned it down.
So just to recap, you've got Colin Montgomery.
Yes.
Some bloke in Germany nobody's ever heard of.
Peter Newman, the sausage seller.
Nobody's ever heard of him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. Just because you're not famous doesn't mean you're not a loser.
Okay.
And West Ham United.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm not too sure about that.
I'm very sure.
My first losers of the weekend are Southend fans, right? Because Southend fans all started to drift out of Wembley, and I can't imagine what the mentality is. I mean, if you get to Wembley,
exactly.
And I know
stay till the end.
Yeah, well, surely you would want to stay till the end, but they left literally about 2 or 3 minutes before the end of the extra time.
Yes,
and then heard the goal going in, heard the great roar. Yeah. All tried to get back in to watch the penalties, and of course, most of them, I imagine, weren't able to get back in.
Unbelievable.
And I find that extraordinary. So Southend fans. Now, this one you're going to think is obvious, right? Because I'm going to say Liverpool, but I'm not going to say Liverpool because they lost 6-1. I'm not going to say Liverpool because Brendan Rodgers said that he'd walk away and quit the job if the owners thought that they would. Yeah. But do you remember a guy that they signed who was going to be the future called Divock Origi?
No.
Who's over in Belgium, right? He's a Belgian player.
Very vaguely.
He was he's a Liverpool player, but he's playing back on loan at Lille this season, right? And he's just been named by the French, one of the French newspapers there, as one of the worst players, the worst team in La Ligue, right?
Really?
Because he's had such a terrible season that basically he's been named in League One's worst team of the season ahead of his move to Anfield, because he's only 20 years old. He's going to Anfield in the summer, and we've had quite a lot of Liverpool fans on saying, he's the future. Well, I don't think he is.
Right,
unfortunately.
okay.
So that's another one.
Loser.
And then finally, I'm going to say that Mercedes are the losers of the weekend, because there's clearly some problem there. As I said before, you might not agree that it was a deliberate move by the Mercedes data mongers, but I mean, the idea that they've now upset Lewis Hamilton, even though they've signed him for a 3-year contract,
sure.
I think there's going to be a lot of trouble ahead at Mercedes, and I think Nico Rosberg and him are still going to have loads and loads of problems.
Yeah, but not a bad choice, but that is always going to happen with two competitive racers. Right, now then, winners, you go first.
All right, well, hang on, we have to have the music.
Oh, yes.
Everyone's a winner, baby, that's no lie. That's no lie. You never fail to satisfy.
Now, I should remind everybody that it's retweet for me and favourite for Mr. Parry. So if you want to wait, obviously, until the end of the whole thing, then that would be wise. Now, I'm going to give you a winner for the first time from the political world, I think you'll be quite surprised about. And it is, of course, Andy Burnham. Do you know your mate Andy Burnham, the Everton fan?
Yes, I've done match commentaries with him at Goodison.
And he's, of course, he's like you, he's a man of the people, right?
Yes.
A story over the weekend saying that he claims £17,000 a year on expenses for a London flat.
I know.
Despite the fact that he owns a flat
5 minutes away.
5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Now, his people say he's not doing anything wrong and he's not making any money out of it, but actually he's got people living in the flat that he owns. So the law enables him to claim the 17 grand.
Yes, I know.
And he isn't doing anything wrong, but I think to pin himself as a man of the people is the worst idea since you pinned yourself.
But you've got him down as a winner.
Yeah, I've got him down as a winner.
Well, he's a loser for trying to...
He's getting 17 grand a year on expenses.
Yeah, OK, but I mean, he's a perverse winner in that case, because you're saying that actually it's, although there's nothing illegal in what he's doing, it's antisocial.
Well, it's not antisocial. It's just not a very good idea.
Well, exactly, yeah. Well, I think that classifies him as a loser, not a winner. But anyway, move on.
Well, that's my first one. My second one is Frank Lampard. Not because he played his last game for Manchester City and he's going off to America, but there's a show on Saturday night which is sort of headed by Holly Willoughby, right?
Right.
And it's something like Play to the Whistle or something like that. And Frank Lampard was on it, and he was very funny.
Right.
So I think he's got a future in television because he was sitting there. It's like a game show. Pat Cash was on it, and there was quite a lot of jokes being made at his expense. events, and he was joining in with them, and I thought maybe a star is born in Mr. Frank Lampard, so I'm saying he is a big winner.
The only problem is nobody saw that show, of course.
Well, I think there's quite a few people watching it.
Except you.
Well, no, I think there's quite a few people watching it.
One. Yeah, go on.
And James de Gale is my third winner, because he's a genuine winner. He's the first British boxer who's won an Olympic gold medal and now a world title.
Right,
because surprisingly enough, every other Olympic boxer that we have had who has become a world champion never actually won a gold medal. So I'm saying James de Gale, Frank Lampard and Andy Burnham. I think you're going to struggle to beat all of those.
Audley Harrison. I can beat those easy, right?
Go on then.
Right, here we go. First of all, the biggest winner is the class of 92. You know they built that hotel outside Old Trafford called Hotel Football?
Yes.
Manchester United, the club, have offered them £42 million for it. They say that's got to be the property of Manchester United. We can't allow you lot.
What, to buy off Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes and all that crap?
And Gary Neville.
Yeah.
And it's owned by the class of 92. It was their idea. The address is so unique, 99 St Matt Busby Way, that the club came in after they got permission to do it and said, you can't do this, said we can.
Yeah.
And now the Glazers want to buy the hotel. They want to make it a Manchester United property.
Blimey.
They don't... And
do you know, the Glazers got the money to buy it?
The Glazers got the money to buy it. That's not a problem. What their biggest worry is that it's proved to be such a successful business that somebody else will come in and buy it off the class of 92.
Right.
And they...
Manchester... And it'll get further away from Man United.
Exactly. Manchester United say it's such a prime location. And obviously, we've got to own it. We can't allow... they couldn't allow, say, for instance, a competitive sporting organisation to buy it.
Presumably it's a mega expensive hotel, is it?
Well, I don't know, but apparently it makes enough profits on a Saturday to keep it going all year round.
Yeah, right.
But anyway...
Maybe we should go and stay there when we go
Yeah,
and
we
play
should
the
do.
Lowry.
I should do. Yeah, maybe we will certainly go and have a look at it. So that's the class of 92, right?
Okay.
The second biggest winner is, without a shadow of a doubt, Andrew Strauss. Andrew Strauss put down Kevin Peterson, the idea of him returning very firmly, and now look at his reward. You've got to, because England have now won a test match in very cavalier style, in swashbuckling style. They've won one, it's fantastic. And that, again, is a great winner. And the third winner, perhaps the least obvious one, is without doubt Mike Ashley.
Why?
Because Mike Ashley's done his first ever TV interview in the light of the club being saved from relegation, which was always the plan at the start of the season.
Yeah.
I just want to be average. I've made a lot of money out of owning the club. I'm not selling the club. I've got a great financial base. We didn't go down. Sorry to Newcastle fans, but all that alone, even though it's by the skin of your teeth...
Well, they've all gone very quiet, Newcastle fans, anyway.
Makes Mike Ashley a winner. So they're three great winners. Class of 92. Andrew Strauss, because he stood against KP, and Mike Ashley. I think they're winners.
I don't think they're as good as any of mine. But,
they are better than all of yours.
You know what to do. You retweet for me your favourite for Mike Parry. At the moment, it's neck and neck, actually.
Yep.
Not that many people have voted. They're obviously deciding to make up their minds
Vote
over
favourite,
the course.
folks. Vote favourite, folks. Favourite, folks. Favourite, folks. Favourite,
I
folks.
thought you were going to say vote favourite and vote often.
No, vote favourite, folks. Yeah, you can vote often as well.
No,
vote more than once.
You can only vote once.
I'm getting subliminally into the minds of our listeners.
Yeah, how you managed to get 187 votes last week, I still haven't managed to get to the bottom
favour,
of.
folks. Vote favour, folks. Vote favour, folks. Vote favour, folks. Go to sleep chanting that.
Yeah, I'm going to go to sleep in a minute listening to it. This is the two Mikes. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham, and of course, if you saw him pushing in and stealing a muffin from anybody earlier on, by all means, let us know. This is actually where you can get it on iTunes and on Android as well. It's going to be Ask Porky, I think, coming up. We did a bonus section of Ask Porky on Friday morning because we had so many.
Yes.
And we've still got loads that we haven't actually got around to doing. So do tweet in hashtag Ask Porky.
Yes.
But then it's Porky Vision. You know, I thought of you when I saw this piece in the Telegraph this morning, which says the Pope has not watched television since 1990.
That's amazing, that.
So he could do that section of Porky Vision that you do, which is all about programmes that went out before 1990.
Exactly, yeah, some of it is, yeah. Of course, he hasn't been Pope since 1990, has he?
No, he hasn't, no.
He's only been Pope for the last 2 or 3 years.
That's right, yeah. But apparently he says that he switched on a television last in 1990. Yeah. After that, he simply decided that he says it was not for me. Yeah, it's an extraordinary thing, that, isn't it? Yeah. So he doesn't even watch his beloved Buenos Aires football team either, because he's a massive
River Plate, isn't it?
I don't think it's River Plate. No, I think it's the Old Boys, isn't it? It's the same one that Messi was involved in, I think.
Lionel Messi. Okay, right now talking about televisions and all that, you're absolutely right there. Now, did you see that since the new Tory government have been re-elected, you get the overwhelming impression that they're going to eke revenge on the BBC, who they have always considered to be against them, and rather sympathetic to Labour governments, right? So the first thing you see is that they're going to decriminalise the idea that if you don't buy a TV licence, you can go to jail.
Yeah.
Now, you're in that position, aren't you?
What do you mean?
Well, you're in the position that 100,000 people have now protested to the BBC about, and that is, I'm not buying a TV licence because I don't ever watch it on my tablet.
Well, no, I mean...
on my laptop. I don't look at a television screen anymore.
Well, that's not strictly true. I mean, I do pay for a TV licence.
What, at both your properties?
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not really... I don't watch that much TV as it is actually broadcast, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I do watch things like the BBC iPlayer, and I don't have a problem paying for that. But I'd just rather pay for it in a different way. If I watch, for example, you should be able to subscribe to BBC iPlayer, in which case you can watch everything that the BBC puts out.
Yeah.
And that would make more sense.
Yeah.
But I don't watch that much TV, period. So, I mean, whether I watch it on my tablet or my laptop or
my
whatever.
telly's on all day with Sky News or Sky Sports News.
Yeah.
All day. That's all I watch now.
Well, when you're not there, though.
No, but I mean, from when I'm in the property, that's all I watch. Yeah. Sky News and Sky Sports News.
Right.
And then I catch up on past episodes of Coronation Street as and when I've got time.
Yeah, right.
And Inspector
But
George
you pay
Gently.
handsomely through the nose. You've said yourself you've got 3 different Sky subscriptions.
I have, yes.
In addition to your TV licence.
I have.
So you're spending an awful lot of money that you don't need to spend, actually.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this. The rule is that if you've got receiving equipment in your house, you have to pay the BBC licence.
Yeah.
I can tell you I very, very, very rarely watch the BBC.
Right.
And I would prefer to pay for it on a select basis, like you said. Because, I mean, for instance, if there's a great drama series on or something like that, you might watch an episode of that a week. But it's only once a week. I never watch the BBC News. I don't like it. I think it's...
I'll watch it occasionally.
I just sometimes watch it just to compare it against other news programmes.
And I sometimes watch BBC Breakfast when I get home in the morning just to annoy myself.
No, I don't.
I
I never watch Sky because, see, Sky is perfect for people in our profession because it's rolling news.
Yeah.
Whereas the 6 o'clock news on the BBC is a summary of the day's news. And I don't want that. I want a rolling news. I want to know what's going on.
Well, they do a rolling news show as well, though.
Well, they do, but I mean, that's on a completely different
BBC
channel.
News channel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, I've never looked at that. I don't know what that's like.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I stick with Sky because I like the people who do it.
Okay.
And that sort of thing.
What are you doing for Porky Vision this week, by the way?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that now, am I?
Why not?
Well, why should I tell you now? I mean, it's
Well,
going to be a surprise.
It's not about telling me. It's about telling people who are listening. And you give them an idea as to what they might hear.
Don't worry. Well,
Sort of
programmes
teaser.
I've got in mind.
All right, well, what about a quiz then?
Hey?
Oh, we're doing Ireland, aren't we? Decided to do the history of Ireland.
Well, I'm not sure about that now.
That was what you said on Friday night.
I did, yeah, but I think it was rather rash because it was a bank holiday weekend, yeah.
Well, what, your decision-making process is not so clever at the weekend?
Well, it's just that, one or two other things have come up which I think are more suitable.
Well, would you care to suggest another topic?
I'd rather tell you after the show.
What, you don't want to say it on live radio?
Not really, no.
Really?
No.
You're becoming very secretive.
No.
First the story with the muffin.
No.
I'm going to start worried about you.
Well, that just appeared on my desk. That's nothing to do with me. I don't know why people...
some kind of breakdown.
I don't know why people are spying on me anyway when I'm just in a shop going about my business.
My business is pushing to the front.
No, I didn't push to the front at all. Now, I want to talk to you about this hotel they're building in Hampstead. That's where you were brought up.
It was.
It is a philosopher's hotel.
I was actually born there as well.
Yeah, I know, yeah. It is a philosopher's hotel.
All right.
They are literally building a hotel which is in praise of philosophers, and all the rooms will be called, like, the Freudian room.
Yeah.
And
this is what's gone wrong with Hampstead.
Eh?
Hampstead is no longer the place for philosophers because philosophers can't afford to live there anymore.
Well, they probably can't.
It's full of lawyers and bankers and pop stars and people who can afford to pay stupid money to stay in a hotel because it's named after Freud.
But it will be...
Freud actually used to live in Hampstead.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why they're probably building it there. But anyway, it is to celebrate...
a bit closer to Swiss Cottage, actually.
It is to celebrate the life of philosophers, and what's more, what is most interesting, it will have conventions for philosophers to go there. So I'm expecting an invitation any day soon.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not...
Because you're a philosopher, are you?
Well, I take a huge interest in philosophy. Now, as you know, last week I explained, didn't I, about the new philosophy...
Schopenhauer, wasn't it?
Schopenhauer.
Yeah.
Was it Arthur or Albert?
It was Arthur, I think.
Arthur Schopenhauer. And I tell you, since I have spoken about that, the amount of people who've got in touch with me and say, we want to know more about it. And basically, what it's all about is it describes how the philosophy of a man being an island came about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it was greatly in favour of the single life, wasn't it? It basically said that if you want to discover anything about the world and about yourself and about life, you have to do it on your own.
The essential element to live alone is the fate of all great souls, Arthur Schopenhauer, okay?
Yeah.
And somebody called Richard at Welshnish, this is a tweet I picked up earlier, right? Yeah. What does he say? He said...
Can you not prepare this properly?
Yeah, I did prepare this properly. I don't know why I put this in the same note, but he says to you and me, have we ever invented any nicknames for serial killers or criminals?
What's that got to do with philosophy?
I'm not sure. Actually.
Why have you put that in your notes?
I don't know.
Copious notes.
I don't know. I think it might have been confused.
You sure that's not an Ask Porky for tomorrow night?
Well, I don't know.
Well, have you ever invented names for serial killers or... I seem to remember inventing names for animals before, when animals go on the run.
Yeah.
And it becomes like a massive story.
Yeah.
And basically, you have to invent a name. It's a bit like hippie crack. I mean, hippie crack is referred to by all newspapers now.
I mean, listen...
and we now know that it was actually invented by some guy who works for the Sun.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And nobody calls it that.
No, that's right. But, I mean, you're absolutely right about these animals. It was always the Beast of Dartmoor.
Yeah.
Or the Beast of Sherwood Forest.
Well, Blackie the donkey. Down in Spain. I mean, this is a donkey that's being held, not captive, but being held in Spain.
That's right.
Because they're going to take it to the top of this
tower and throw him off.
And throw him off into the water. They were going to kill it. Yeah. But, when you were writing about these things and somebody on the news desk goes, what's the name of the donkey?
Yeah.
And you go, oh, yeah, it's Blackie.
Yeah.
Well, why would it be Blackie the donkey? It's a Spanish donkey. Why would you call it that?
But what a strange question from this chap, Richard. Have we ever invented...
Well, perhaps he's referring to your incredible discovery of the Yorkshire Ripper, single-handedly, bringing him to the attention of the police. I don't know if that was your headline, was it? The Yorkshire Ripper? You didn't come up with that?
No, he was known as the Yorkshire Ripper from day one.
Yeah.
Because he was compared obviously to Jack the Ripper,
Right.
And particularly when some nutter up in the northeast sent a tape to the police saying, "I'm Jack," and then taunted them with all this nonsense about the crimes.
Which turned out to be rubbish.
Which turned out to be rubbish and all that. But I don't know how... It's such a daft question. Have we ever invented nicknames for serial killers and criminals? I mean, for instance, the guys who stole all that stuff from Brink's Mat.
Well, like Mad Frankie Fraser.
They were known as Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like Mad Frankie Fraser.
They melted all the gold down. Mad Frankie Fraser,
I think he was called that by his cohorts, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was called that by his cohorts, yeah, Mad Frankie Fraser. So the answer to that one is no. Getting back to Schopenhauer,
Do you want an update on the score, by the way? It's currently 19 to you and 23 to me.
That's very close.
Yeah, it is close.
Yeah, OK. Vote favour, please. Vote favour. Vote favour for the Porkmeister. Is it favour? What is it?
Favourite. It's favourite.
Favourite.
Vote favourite. Not favour beans.
Vote
the nice
favourite
Chianti.
For the Porkmeister. I got it more right tonight than...
no, Maffey doesn't agree. He says, poor this week, Parry. You lost my vote from last week.
Oh, rubbish. That's absolute nonsense.
And Woodenhead says, Parry should lose by default every week. MG is clearly superior.
Absolute nonsense. By the way, talking about what we were talking about, the Hampstead Hotel for...
Yeah, the Hampstead Philosopher's Hotel. Where's it going to be, does it say?
Doesn't say, I don't know. Somewhere in Hampstead. But listen, what I thought I'd tell you about was Hereford. Because...
Why?
Well, because, I keep a huge eye on the archaeological world. Okay?
Do
you? Yeah, huge eye on the archaeological world.
Oh, maybe we're going to have an archaeological quiz.
Well, you see, the thing is, I was reading about, the way parents bring their children up these days.
Yeah.
And do you know that parents, because they've neglected the issue over the years, take their children to all sorts of places abroad, even if it's as basic as sort of Benidorm or something like that, or Tenerife and all that. But they never take them around this country to see some of the
interesting historical sites.
Well, not only that, but some of the most beautiful countryside in the world, some of the most beautiful locations. Have your children ever been to East Anglia?
I don't think they have, actually.
No. Norfolk Broads?
Norfolk Broads, no.
Northumberland?
Northumberland, yes.
The Yorkshire Dales?
The Yorkshire Dales, yes.
The Lake District?
Well, the problem with East Anglia, of course, as you quite rightly point out, is that there's no way to get there, so nobody goes there.
No,
but, I mean, they've seen large portions of this country,
but I mean...
For a lot of people, it's too expensive
Devon
to drive
and Cornwall?
around. Devon and Cornwall, yes.
Well, you see, and most parents don't. But anyway...
Well, I'm not like most parents.
Getting back to Hereford...
Do you know, I nearly didn't come in with glasses tonight because I was out playing football with my two sons earlier.
Right.
And one of them... And they're both getting quite good now.
Right.
And one of them kicked the ball on the volley, and I was rather stupid to be still wearing my glasses.
Yeah.
I thought we would just have a little funny kick around.
Yeah.
Straight smack in the middle of the glasses.
Right.
Glasses came off, big...
Did it smash them?
No, no, because I'm still wearing them.
Oh, I didn't know it was the same pair.
Yeah, luckily they didn't smash. I thought they were going to smash.
Yeah, well, it could have been a real problem. But anyway, look, do you know what happens?
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's quite all right.
I was just talking to you about my parenting skills.
Yes, exactly. But the problem is we don't take our children to nearly enough places. Have they been to Stonehenge, your children?
My younger ones haven't been, no. But, I mean, my older ones, we used to live, 20 minutes from Stonehenge.
Yeah, but you don't now. You should take your children to Stonehenge
No,
and tell them what it's all about.
Yeah, I will do.
You will do. You spend too much time drinking Bollinger champagne.
Absolute rubbish.
Now then...
My youngest son's only 8.
He's only 8.
He's got lots of places to go.
No, but he could... he
spent the first 3 years of his life in Scotland.
Huh? So, yeah, okay, yeah. All right, yeah.
You feeling all right?
No, fine. Now, listen, what happened was Hereford was the tax exile capital of the world.
Really?
In 900 years ago.
Why?
What happened was they didn't have enough men there, and loads of women. So old William the Conqueror, just after he finished conquering...
Old William the Conqueror?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
900 years ago?
Yeah. He said to people, if you go and live in Hereford, we'll give you a tax break.
Why are you telling me this? Why are you telling me this?
Because you need to know. You need to know.
Hereford's also the headquarters of the SAS now.
Yeah,
There's any connection between those two events?
Well, I don't know. It might be. They've excavated all these bodies and they found some of the earliest burials at the site suggest that the majority of men migrated to Hereford from Normandy or North Wales, while almost all the women were local. Historians explain the differences found by a law enforced after the Norman conquest, which offered a generous tax deduction.
Yeah, you make it sound really interesting. Go to Hereford.
Yeah.
I must take my kids. Everyone's sitting there going, I must take my kids to Hereford.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe you could have somebody like you standing there going banging on about the tax laws from the 11th century.
It's true. Listen, archaeologists
who exhumed
2,500 bodies from around Hereford Cathedral discovered evidence of men who may have moved to the area to take advantage of tax breaks for outsiders.
So what?
If they married local women.
Well, so what?
Well, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Well, you're suggesting they start doing that in Sutton or something?
Well, why not?
Or down in Portsmouth?
Why not?
So you get a tax break if you go to marry a local woman?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah. You get a tax break for marrying a local woman, and that improves the local economy, apparently, because they all go there. And they could tell these guys were wealthy.
Maybe you could start this in Norwich.
They could tell these guys
would go there.
Were wealthy because most of them had teeth when they exhumed the bodies, which is always a good telltale sign.
It is a good telltale sign. So when they find your carcass, then they'll know that you weren't very wealthy at all because all your teeth have fallen out.
Well, a lot of them have. That's absolutely true.
How is your toothache tonight, by the way?
It's not good, but I don't moan about it.
Have you taken any painkillers for it?
No, I learned how to cope with pain.
Okay.
The only thing I have to worry about is the
See the time, by the way.
Don't worry about the time.
It's nearly time.
Anyway, look.
It's a dead heat, 24-24 at the moment on the winners.
Well, like you say, I've crept back from a deficit into a commanding position. And of course, could you please remind the listeners that the vote is open for the next 24 hours, so you can announce it in tomorrow night's show.
It is. What we've done, because people have requested this, because some people won't hear it until they hear the podcast, basically you can vote until the start of the show tonight, which is at 2 o'clock, of course. But then it will be Ask Porky, so we'll do plenty of that. Maybe by tomorrow, there might be some news on what's happening in the managerial merry-go-round scenario.
Maybe.
Maybe West Ham will have a new manager.
Yeah,
maybe. Steve McLaren will have found himself a job.
Maybe
Carlo Ancelotti.
What's the position in Scotland with Rangers getting up to the Premier League?
Well, it's supposed to be happening, isn't it?
No, but something else has got to happen first, hasn't it?
They're in the playoff final against Motherwell, and so if they win that, then they're in there.
Well, that seems to be taking an awful long time to sort out.
Yeah, well, it does.
There's not many clubs in the Premier League in Scotland.
Well, the problem is that all these playoffs get people very excited and very confused. Far too many of them, I think. Anyway, this is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics.
Look at the light!
Don't forget to follow the Two Mics at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV. So have you got a nice view of the sea then?
Yeah. Yes, of course I have. Of course I have.
It's not just a view of the marina.
No.
How high up is it?
Oh, it's about 7th floor.
7th floor.
And it's it looks over the Orwell Quay and it looks out over the North Sea.
So can you see Holland on a clear day?
No, see Felixstowe. I'm not interested in transgenderisation. I've got no plans, à ce moment, to turn myself into a woman.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.